1 discount per household.
25 years ago, the TV show The West Wing premiered with Martin Sheen as President Jed Bartlett. Today, the entire cast was recognized at the White House by First Lady Dr. Jill Biden.
My mother's 96 years old, and I called her to tell her that the show had been invited to the White House. She said, "Oh, God, don't give those people any trouble. They've done enough."
That's the show's creator, Aaron Sorkin. Neighbors in the Hollywood Hills of Los Angeles are fed up.
Mulholland Drive is known for its breathtaking views, but what neighbors are seeing around a mansion is broken windows and graffiti. An abandoned mansion has been empty for 2 years. Squatters have been an issue, and now the entire giant home has been covered in graffiti. Property records show the home is owned by the son of the Philadelphia Phillies owner. This neighbor, voice altered, says,
"Just seems to be ignoring what his responsibility is."
Police say there's not much they can do except clear out the building each time they're called because a home still has an owner. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Nearly 138,000 platform beds that were sold at retailers including Amazon and Walmart are being recalled across the U.S. and Canada. Regulators say the Lucid beds can collapse, posing risks for falls and injury. They say they can sag, break, or collapse. There have been 245 incidents in the U.S. with 18 injuries. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
I'm Bill Walter, KBNU News. News brought to you by The Cater Shop. Hundreds of thousands of Amazon workers across the U.S. are getting a raise, with those in Utah seeing a bigger pay bump than most. Amazon announced this week that it is increasing wages by an average of $1.50 per hour across the country, a 12% increase. However, employees at Amazon's Salt Lake Distribution Center will see their wages rise by $2.25 per hour, which translates to an additional $4,500 per year for workers. The company is also offering Amazon Prize to workers for free. This is all welcome news for the online retail giant's more than 800,000 frontline employees. The increase in pay brings Amazon's average base wage to $22 per hour. This comes as Amazon may be seeking to retain workers and hire more as the busy holiday shopping season approaches. No explanation was provided for why Utah's Amazon workers received a larger raise than workers in other states. According to Amazon, it employs 7,500 full and part-time workers in the state. Cedar City businesses were evacuated Thursday after a brush fire quickly spread near the airport. 2 firefighters and a civilian were injured in the fire and transported to the hospital. All 3 were reported in stable condition. The fire began just before 1:45 p.m. Because the fire spread so fast, officials believed several nearby industrial businesses were at significant risk. Because of the danger, businesses were forced to be evacuated for safety. The fire is currently under investigation. A man was arrested for allegedly firing a bullet through another driver's windshield during a moment of road rage in Taylorsville. Taylorsville police said the suspect, Capone Dixon, thought the vehicle was driving too slowly, but police said the victim was actually going over the speed limit. Taylorsville Police Sergeant Jake Hill said it's a growing concern, not just in Taylorsville, but across the state. A new road rage law, HB 30, went into effect in July. The law aims to reduce aggressive driving by increasing penalties. Hill said this is the first case in Taylorsville to potentially apply these enhancements. Hill said that whether it's an assault or in this case it was an aggravated assault, it allows the penalty to be enhanced 1 degree. Police want to remind drivers, if you find yourself in a road rage situation, stay calm and get yourself to a safe place like a police station, but to overall avoid confrontation. KVNU weather is brought to you by Roof Rescue, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry. Give them a call at 435-999-4268 or go to roofrescueusa.com. We do have mostly clear skies for tonight, mid-40s. Could see some easterly canyon winds gusting to as high as 40 miles an hour near the canyons. Near the canyons tomorrow, gusty winds, otherwise sunny, warm around 78, sunny at about 75 on Sunday. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
Hey, radio listeners, before we get you back to the music, let me tell you real quick about what I did that is saving me a lot of money. I got new insulation in my house. That's right. Now, I know you're thinking, boring, but have you seen the reports lately about how better insulation can save a ton of money on your energy bills? I can tell you it made a huge difference in my home. I mean, not only does the temperature stay perfect, but my energy bill is definitely down. Do what I did. Call Cardall's Insulation, 755-5012. That's 755-5012 for Cardall's Insulation.
Updates every 30 minutes and breaking news as it happens. News Talk KVNU, your number one radio station for news and talk.
It's the final week of the 2024 Top of Utah Parade of Homes, presented by Willow Lakes. Explore stunning, custom-built homes, showcasing exquisite design and architecture. September 19th through the 21st, Platinum sponsors Burton Lumber and Remax Peaks invite you to experience Cache Valley and Bear Lake's finest living. Mark your calendars to be inspired by these beautiful homes. Get tickets at Bank of Utah and USU Credit Union or online at topofutahparadeofhomes.com. That's topofutahparadeofhomes.com.
Have you experienced an increase in your insurance premiums? We know it can be both frustrating and confusing. This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance, an Alera Group company. Insurance rates will always be increasing. As an auto owner's independent agency, we strive to stabilize the rate increases by quoting multiple carriers to give you multiple options. Give us a call today to discuss your rates and get the best price. 435-752-0101.
Make plans to attend the 3rd Annual Northern Utah Manufacturing Excellence Conference on Wednesday, October 9th. Collaborate with manufacturing leaders and resource experts. Enjoy lunch and a keynote from Paul Nelson, who leads engineering digital transformation for the space system sector at Northrop Grumman. When we strengthen Utah manufacturing, we strengthen Utah's economy. Register today for the annual New Me Conference on October 9th from 8 to 1 at the Cache County Event Center at cashchamber.com. That's cashchamber.com.
Hi, John Weiss here. Fall is a beautiful, busy time of year. Whether you're juggling fall sports schedules, hitting the trails to hunt, or coordinating the annual tailgate, you need a vehicle that can do it all. During our Jeep Adventure Days, you'll get 0% APR financing when you purchase a 2024 Jeep brand vehicle. See dealership for details. There's never been a better time to get behind the wheel of a reliable ride, so stop by a Heritage Auto, your hometown dealer with the biggest deals.
Fatigue, headaches, weight gain, hair loss, insomnia, anxiety, intestinal issues, joint pain. Do you suffer from consistent symptoms like these, and no matter how many doctors you see, things still don't improve? Whether you have a thyroid problem, an autoimmune issue, or chronic symptoms, we can help. We do complex medical testing and blood work to find the mechanisms driving your symptoms. And then we create a plan to improve each one while we teach you the tools to stay on top of your health. We've been helping patients just like you for almost 14 years now. We see patients from all over the world, and we have an office here in St. George, Logan, Salt Lake, Farmington, and Springville. You aren't crazy, you aren't lazy. It's not just because you're getting older, and these symptoms are not normal. No matter what symptoms you have, you shouldn't feel this way, and we can help. Don't accept Band-Aid answers.
Call Red River Health and Wellness at 855-55-RIVER.
Call Red River today. I'm Larry Gelwicks, the Getaway Guru. Join me on The Travel Show every Saturday at 11 a.m., and I'll tell you where to go and how to get there with the best travel deals on the planet, including how to travel more and pay less, free this and free that promotions, and insider secrets on what the airlines, cruise lines, and hotels don't want you to know, along with your call-in travel questions every Saturday, 11 a.m., right here on News Talk 610 KVNU.
This ain't no disco. It ain't no country club either. This is LA. All I wanna do is have a little fun.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People, hour 2 of today's show. It's the For the People Movie Show. Andy Morgan joining me in just a bit, I hope. He texted and said he was on his way. Andy, if you're out there, if you're in trouble, blink twice. I can't see you, never mind. Don't text me, you're driving, probably. Box office. We're going to be talking about the box office today. We're going to be finishing up our fall movie preview that I think we're in our 3rd week of attempting to finish that. We should be able to get it done today. New in theaters today, Transformers 1. It is currently sitting about 97% thumbs up from the audiences, 89% thumbs up from the critics. So apparently people are liking it. You can also see Halle Berry in Never Let Go. This also premiered this weekend, and this is from visionary director Alexandra Aja. The Hills Have Eyes crawl. I don't know if visionary is the word, although I liked both of those horror movies. More famous in my world for being an executive producer of Stranger Things and Arrival. Never Let Go, though, is directed by Aja. It stars Halle Berry, and this is the story of let's see, backing up here. Evil takes over the world beyond their front doorstep. The only protection for a mother and her twin sons is their house and their family's protective bond. Needing to stay connected at all times, they tether themselves with ropes. They cling to one another, urging each other to never let go. But when one of the boys questions if the evil is even real, the ties that bind them together are severed, triggering a terrifying fight for survival. I don't know a thing about this. I haven't even seen a trailer, which is never a good sign. But Brian Tallarico at RogerEbert.com called it a hodgepodge of mental illness, trauma, overprotection, the existence of evil or not, and what feels like COVID allegories. Never Let Go fails by virtue of too many competing ideas, never deciding what it's actually about. Leaves you with too little to enjoy. On the flip side of that, Benjamin Lee at The Guardian said, when the film exists in the space between guessing and knowing, there's an allure. Once the inelegance of the scene setting is over, there's a genuine tension in trying to figure out where the real danger comes from, whether it's inside her head or outside the house. So, gives you a general idea what that is about, but that is also in theaters here in Logan. And as far as new movies go in Logan, that's it. It is a slower movie premiere week, I guess. Not going to stay that way for long, though. It looks like the premiere weekends really start speeding up. And Andy, welcome. I was just telling listeners that I gave you a shout out knowing you were on your way here and probably delayed by traffic. And then I thought, if he hears this, he's going to want to text me. I didn't want you texting and driving, so I'm glad you didn't. Who's on your shirt?
Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, okay. For a second, I thought it was Taylor Swift.
I mean, I am a Swiftie.
Who isn't a Swiftie?
Donald Trump.
That's true. But I think he is even secretly.
He's like, gosh, he
just can't say
this really messes up my playlist.
Campaigning, yeah. Because I don't know anybody with good taste in music who doesn't.
Like, this really messes up my playlist.
Least like a couple of songs. Did you hear my opening song, by the way?
I did not hear your opening song.
It was Sheryl Crow, All I Want to Do.
Let's have some fun.
A listener during the break challenged me to come back with the song. They said, is there a song that, like, just the first couple of bars of music just make you, like, fingernails on a chalkboard? That's the song.
Oh, okay.
I start to hear the first of All I Want to Do by Sheryl Crow, and parts of me just want to have this very irrational reaction to.
Oh, that's funny.
I can't stand it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a song like that. You know that what it is for me? I don't know why, but every time I hear the I Got a Feeling, you know that one? That sounded like a country western song. I did not mean it that way.
I can sympathize though on that.
And also the other song, if we go back further in time for our boomer listeners, okay boomer listeners, the all the trees are, the birds, I think it is, or whatever.
See, there are some songs I don't like because I've heard too much like that one.
Like anytime you see a Vietnam War movie and they play Fortunate Son, and you're like, wasn't there any other music?
They had some other good songs. That same band had some other good songs.
You know what I'm super pumped about? I mean, I got to be honest with you. I am so pumped about the new Bob Dylan movie. I'm just kidding. I'm not 1% pumped. Somebody out there is like,
I found it.
Oh, man. You serious?
This is
Bob Dylan? You're gonna besmirch Bob Dylan?
This is the other one that causes that irrational, visceral reaction for me. I don't know why.
I don't even know what this is.
It's Rainy Night in Georgia.
Dolly Parton. Just kidding.
I think she did a version. No, this is Brooke Benton.
Over and by my suitcase.
I have no idea why. I'll be shopping in a store, and that comes on the music at the store, and I just that's it. I want nothing. Going home.
You know what
and then I get to my car and think, well, that was irrational.
I don't understand how people
Do you have
don't
any movies like that?
Oh, for sure.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they all rhyme with Schmilite.
Like something that if you flip in channels, you angrily change the channel?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Really?
Anything with Muppets. So, like, if I flip a channel, I'm like, Dark Crystal, out. Eject. You know what I mean?
What if it's the cute little scene with Fizzgig?
Can I make a confession? I've never seen the Dark Crystal because guess why? I hate Muppets. If Steven Spielberg, if they put a dream team together of like the absolute A+ Star Wars creators and said, we are doing a whole new trilogy, but it is Muppets, I'd be like, out. I'd start making toxic fan videos. That's how far it would push me.
I have a text from a listener here that
if it's all Muppets, it's not woke, it's moke.
Moke.
Stop going moke. Jim Hansen. By the way, Andy, it's Jim Henson. I don't care. It's Jim Hansen to me. I don't respect that guy's name.
This is
Muppets.
This is really going to set you off. A listener just texted in and said, technically the shark in Jaws was a Muppet.
No, Muppets are made of cloth, and you put your hands in them.
That is the worst description of a Muppet I have ever heard.
You're like, wait a minute. Is it also gloves are Muppets? Is what you're telling me? Put your Muppets on and go outside.
I mean,
it's too cold.
I'm gonna choke to death. I have never heard Muppets described that way. If you put googly eyes on your gloves, though, it is technically a Muppet.
See, you can make your hands into the mouth. I'm telling you, man.
Didn't you watch Fraggle Rock? Are you Fraggle Rock age?
No, you just said this 5 minutes ago. You said, what makes you instantly change? I'd be watching HBO, like waiting for some kind of like, I don't know, Basic Instinct and be like, hey, it's 1 a.m. Let's do a rerun of Fraggle Rock. I got all my friends over. This is not what we were expecting. Anyway, I'm
never going to forget that description of Muppets. They're made of cloth and you put your hand in them.
I can't think of anything redeeming. It's like, animated movies are fine and most of them are great. But it was like somebody was like, before like CGI or whatever, before like super awesome computer animation, somebody was like, what if we made cartoons come to life? No.
That was kind of...
No.
That's what they were trying to do.
Don't like Miss Piggy. Don't like Kermit. You know what? Actually, let me say one thing.
What about that episode with John Denver?
Nope. Don't even like John Denver.
American
He ruined it for me. You know who I also... There's one Muppet that I can tolerate. One. And it's Grover.
Oh. Monster at the End of the Book.
I like Grover.
I loved that book when I was a kid.
I don't know what that book is. because when I was little,
spoiler alert, the monster's Grover.
My parents bought me
But he doesn't know that, and you don't know that. It's terrifying.
Yeah, I don't. Not a fan. Nope.
I have the only thing I can think of for me that comes close to your Muppet hate is Adam Sandler.
You know what? The other one I would add
That's
to that.
the closest. He just there's something. He's not funny, and on top of not being funny, he's irritating. And when I see him, all I have to do is even hear his voice. And I used to like him when he was on Saturday Night Live. I mean, I didn't.
See, I think I like Adam Sandler
indifferent.
later than he to me was annoying on Saturday Night Live. I don't like Happy Gilmore era Adam Sandler.
Oh no, horrible Waterboy, and what was the animated one he did?
The Seven Angry Nights or something like that.
Horrible.
7 Wild Nights. You know who else is like that? He's like maybe one level below Adam Sandler for me on that level is Jack Black.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff.
Although the wrestling one.
Yeah, but see,
it had some great one-liners. I wish it had been someone else. Yeah,
no, it is, and I will say there are things I enjoy Jack Black in. I enjoy him in Tropic Thunder.
That's right. I forgot he was in that.
He's maybe even early
in that.
What I don't, in fact, there's a scene in Nacho Libre where Jack Black goes full Jack Black. Right,
Yeah.
It's almost like a Jim Carrey-ish kind of thing,
but
where you just can't help but not be yourself.
Yeah,
and it's when he's singing the song about I can't think of the lady's name in the show, but he's singing the love song to her, and then in the middle he does that little like that thing that he always does, and I just was like, you just couldn't help it, Jack.
You know what's funny? So I'm spacing on his
couldn't
name.
help it.
Who's the guy? Is it Ed Helms who plays Andy in The Office?
Yes.
So he does. Someone pointed this out to me, and I can't unsee it. He does Jack Black stuff.
He kind of does.
But he's not irritating.
I mean, maybe
he's easier. Because I find him funny. Jack Black, I don't in general find funny.
He's funny.
I really liked him in School of Rock.
Yeah, and he's funny. I really like him in Tropic Thunder, but I almost think I like him in Tropic Thunder because he's kind of playing a caricature of himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like he's
true.
kind of poking fun of himself.
I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point.
I still wonder if that movie would fly today. But hey, you know what?
I'm really stuck.
I don't know if you've talked to the audiences yet. There is some movies out.
The Transformer 1 and the Halle Berry movie.
Transformers 1 has gotten pretty good reviews. I was out of town when we screened this, so I have not had a chance to see it yet. I've heard nothing but good things, weirdly. I do think I'm surprised.
I'm surprised to be seeing so much good about it.
And I'm also surprised that I'm not hearing more hate about, I mean, it's not Peter Cullen. It's not the freedom is the right of all sentient beings. That voice.
Yeah,
it's Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
G'day. Freedom's the right of all sentient beings.
America.
And then Megatron's like, nar. Nar, it's not. Optimus. Anyway.
I thought when I saw that casting, I thought, okay, what they did here is they wrote something really bad.
Yeah.
But they put a lot of money in the animation. So then they're like, okay, we got to get somebody
got to get
big.
top-notch voice talent.
Yeah, so they got Chris Hemsworth.
But it sounds like it's pretty good. There's the Halle Berry movie Never Let Go, which I haven't seen or heard things about. Speak No Evil is still in theaters. Killer's Game. Beetlejuice, the Reagan movie, which Jason so loved.
I talked to someone yesterday, though,
that also loved it,
who enjoyed it, and so maybe I was a little too hard. Again, my problem with the movie was Reagan is a fascinating historical figure,
sure,
and they changed some things they didn't need to change.
Yeah,
the actual events would have been exciting enough. And they tweaked things, and it irritated me.
Can I ask you a question?
You want an example?
Was there a scene in it where Martin Short shrinks and goes inside his body?
Yeah, that was the one.
Just wondering.
Inner space. You want to hear funny inner space trivia? I've only ever seen the first 3 minutes of Inner Space.
And then you flipped because it was like Muppets for you?
No. So I think we were school shopping or something, and some friends and my mom agreed to let us go to a movie while she went through the mall and down in Ogden, the Newgate Mall. And so we bought tickets for Inner Space, and we went into Inner Space, And then after we thought we'd been there long enough for no one to ask questions, we went over to Halloween instead. I think it was H2O.
I don't know.
Is that the same time?
Halloween's one of my favorite comedies of all time.
Kind of wish we'd stayed in inner space, to be honest with you, in hindsight.
It's one of my favorite comedies.
Yeah, we thought we were being rebels, but...
Hey, there is... I also wanted to point out, if you really want... if you're a huge Matt Walsh fan, which... I'll just... Who isn't? He has a movie
I changed
over...
my mind. There's someone that irritates me more in movies than Adam Sandler.
It's Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh is like if Borat wasn't funny.
And had a baby with Glenn Beck.
If someone asked me, what is that movie going to be like? And I said, imagine Borat, but not funny.
Yeah.
And with a ham-handed political point to make.
Well, and I think it's weird that
no one enjoys that. Even if it's someone you agree with, that's not a fun movie experience.
And it's called, so Matt Walsh is what's the other guy that makes all these movies?
I feel the same way about Michael Moore.
What's the other guy, though? The other guy that's like a criminal.
Dinesh
D'Souza, yeah. Matt Walsh is the Caucasian Dinesh D'Souza. I love.
Well, so far his movie, the publisher hasn't had to yank it yet.
I like how
the distributor, whereas Dinesh, they had to pull his.
I want to put a hidden camera
for the BS in it.
I want to put a hidden camera outside the poster, and I think we could do some like societal tests here as people walk by the poster, and the poster says, "Am I racist?" And we'll just see how many people go, "Yep."
That's.
Yep.
Nobody, I don't know why people make these movies, because nobody enjoys sitting down to be lectured. Even if you agree with the lecturer, which in this case is not funny Borat, Matt Walsh.
Right.
No one enjoys that. It's not a fun experience. Why did you make this movie?
Well, and I don't want to see Matt Walsh's...
I used to say the same thing to Michael Moore. He did Bowling for Columbine, which was a great, careful, almost documentary... almost documentary-like.
And then he becomes a caricature of himself.
Guns in America, and then he got so popular for Bowling for Columbine that he became this liberal activist in all of his movies, and it was just.
I think what it is.
Just irritating.
I still think
a lecture. Nobody likes that.
I still think his movies have some succinct points. I think what happens...
Oh, Bowling for Columbine's excellent.
Yeah.
Everyone should see that.
No, I think what happens with people like Michael Moore is that their overbearing personality that they have now thrust onto the world, right? Instead of kind of being behind the scenes. It's like the opposite of Ken Burns, right? Ken Burns he makes a documentary and he's just like, I'm hiding back here.
Yeah, and that's how you make an entertaining and engaging documentary. You don't... Like what Michael Moore does, what Matt Walsh is trying to do, it's sort of like they're taking it, it's like, okay, I'm not allowed to teach a college course. So I want to make a movie on you and force everyone to sit through my college course. And nobody has fun doing that.
Yeah.
No one's buying this movie and telling their relatives to watch it. Just write a book.
100% agree.
Or put it on YouTube. And those that want to will see it. But so actually there's a point. There's a reason people like Michael Moore or Matt Walsh don't just put it on YouTube. They want to force this upon people.
Yeah.
They have an agenda, and that's what makes it irritating.
And I don't want to see Matt Walsh's beard 3 stories high.
That's one of my biggest problems. His costumes are...
his beard's real. Let's be honest.
Unfunny and untalented. Borat.
It's this new thing where you have these guys that would probably be clean shaven at some point, but they know if they're clean shaven, they don't give off the kind of alpha male kind of vibe that they're going for.
The Cybertruck driver that yelled at those kids.
That guy too, right?
Went viral a little while ago.
Where if you shave your beard, you're like, I did not know your chin was so tiny. You know what I mean? Where no offense, I'm not trying to offend anybody politically here, but it's kind of like
a thing.
Go look at J.D. Vance in 2016. He looks like a little baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He grows a beard and he's like, I'm a man, and so. It's a vibe, right?
Yeah. And
maybe I'm jealous. I wish I could grow a beard.
No, I think it is a vibe, and it's part of... So my other issue with this movie, too, and movies like this, same with Michael Moore back in the early 2000s and late 90s, it becomes a grift at a certain point.
Right, yeah.
At a certain point, they're just taking your money.
It's like if you were like a former newscast, like news in quotes, and you were doing like a worldwide tour, like where you're going to arenas.
Yeah.
Like, and
yeah, it's weird. And
wink, wink.
The other
Just
thing
kidding.
that's strange is they always get a distributor, and the audiences for these movies are never huge.
Well, and you know,
like I don't get it. Like, who's the distributor that's like, this time?
Well, what was
this
that movie?
time we'll pack theaters. No,
Yeah,
it never packs theaters.
I think there's some timing around it too, because
People don't like to be lectured.
You've got somebody. I mean, let's be honest. Someone, right? So we all know Matt Walsh. While he has been critical of the former president, and at times, you know, I feel like when Matt Walsh goes to the ballot box in November, we know who he's going to punch his ticket for. So you've got these, you know, big super PACs that are funding this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this movie coming out now is a strategic release. Someone might even argue the same thing about the Apprentice movie that just premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival. You know, same type of thing. Like, oh, they're putting this out now to besmirch, you know.
Yeah.
That's my word of the week, by the way, besmirch. Besmirch.
It's so weird because, so I'm not an expert on this. I'm not a political scientist, but I've read enough.
I think you're a political scientist.
Well, amateur. But I've read enough about public opinion and how it's influenced and what people, what sets off sort of red flags in people. Actually, to be honest with you, I learned this first in a marketing class as a college student. But then, but then I read a book about this from George Lakoff, a linguist who wrote a book about how to message in politics effectively and ineffectively, how to fail. And the one thing that I don't understand about this is people know when they're being grifted. You know, when someone's making money off of something, and it causes a even if they go and give you their money, they'll never respect you.
Yeah.
And so it boggles me that this is in entertainment, a thing that people bother with. I don't care if it's left or right. Why are people bothering with this?
Yeah.
You're not achieving your goal. You're not convincing anyone. You're not changing any minds. You didn't influence a single vote. And yet you poured years and millions into this documentary trying to do exactly that. It just blows my mind.
Yep.
But it's never worked.
No, I agree.
That's why people say, oh, I'm not going to go see that. I don't support their agenda. No, go see it. Do a Mystery Science Theater thing if it's something you disagree with. It can be extremely entertaining to go see it. It doesn't make a difference. But I guess you can say that about every movie. Like, every movie has an agenda to make money. But these kind of overtly political movies, it just blows me away because they are trying to change the world, and it has no effect.
Well, and to your point, I mean, I think the best movies set out. I mean, it's funny when people are like, "Oh, I'm sick of block." I'm like, dude, how do you think movie studios make money so they can make all the artsy films that you want to see as well, right? Like, it's not because, you know, they're raking it in over here on, you know.
Yeah.
You've got to, there's got to be a balance. And the other thing, too, is people like movies. People like dumb popcorn movies, if that's what you want to call them.
And if you want to influence,
as much as they like a cerebral.
Honestly, if you want to influence politics and public opinion, you've got to be subtle, and it has to be like a 10-movie series.
There's
where you just slip a little piece in here or there. David Sirota has a great book about this. I can't remember what it's called. But one of the first examples he uses is Ghostbusters. But he's talking about how in the 80s, there was this. So Hollywood was very corporate.
Yeah.
And in the 80s. And it has, gone back and forth over the years since as well. But the boards and the stockholders were calling shots. They were approving scripts.
Right. And
the Ghostbusters script is an example of that. And the original script, the bad guy doesn't work for the EPA. He's someone else. And the corporate people said, no, he should work for the EPA. He should work for the government.
Yeah.
And so they changed it in the script. So and the script writer, the producer, everybody involved, Dan Aykroyd, all of them, they're like, okay, we don't care. It doesn't matter who he works for. Well, David Sirota says it actually did. That this was a thing where if you look at movies in the late 80s coming into and out of Reagan's years, all the bad guys are like EPA enforcers or inspectors or land managers, the fish game wardens, like those were the bad guys.
Yeah.
And he talks about how that type of messaging is it's subtle and it works. And then he talks about how that shifts in the 90s, and all of a sudden, the corporate people are all bad, starting with like clerks. He uses clerks as an example, and he said it shifts, and now all of a sudden the gatekeepers, the corporate people, the lobbyists, they're the bad people in all the movies through the 90s. It's fascinating. Anyway.
The quote I was going to tell you a minute ago.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm assuming we have to go to the...
Yeah, we should.
The news or something here in a minute. But I wanted... Or something. Well, don't worry, folks.
It'll be a surprise.
But there's a quote that Roger Ebert shared. This is obviously prior to his death in 2011. But he said, "For me, the movies are like a machine that generates empathy. Yeah. It lets you understand a little bit more about different hopes, aspirations, dreams, and fears. It helps us to identify with the people who are sharing this journey with us." I love that quote because, when people ask me, why do I love movies, the popcorn movies, the Oscar-winning movies, whatever, it's that. You know what I mean? We get to walk in someone else's shoes for a hot minute, and I think it's important. So, anyway.
I agree.
The more you know.
The more you know. Stick around to know more, though, because he's not done.
Boom.
Andy Morgan and the For the People movie show continues after the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News is brought to you by Roof Rescue. Nearly 138,000 platform beds sold at major retailers, including Amazon and Walmart, are being recalled across the U.S. and Canada. That's because they can collapse, posing fall and injury risks. Utah-based importer CVB Incorporated is recalling the Lucid branded platform beds with an upholstered square tufted headboard. According to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission and Health Canada, the beds can sag, break, or collapse during use. To date, there have been 245 incidents of this occurring in the U.S., causing 18 injuries. An additional 11 reports of bed failures have been reported in Canada. Owners of the platform beds under recall are urged to stop using them immediately and contact Lucid for a free replacement frame. Hours before a gunman opened fire at an entrance to a Yellowstone National Park employee dining hall, authorities had been warned that he planned to carry out a mass shooting at the facility. The revelation came Thursday as authorities released new video and other details about the July 4th shooting, in which rangers stationed to protect the facility at Canyon Village killed 28-year-old Samson Lucas Fussner after he opened fire. Authorities had been looking for Fussner for hours after a security guard called 911 just after midnight on July 4th, saying Fussner had just held a woman hostage and told her he was going to attack the Canyon Village dining hall. KVNU weather brought to you by Triton Medical Supply and Transportation. They offer non-emergency medical transport to and from medical appointments, hospitals, or nursing homes. They can transport medical equipment like walkers, wheelchairs, even a stretcher. Go to mytritonsupply.com or call 435-557-6687. Mostly clear skies tonight, mid-40s, but we near the canyons will see some gusty winds, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. Some gusty canyon winds on Saturday, otherwise sunny, and around 78. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
ABC News, I'm Daria Aldinger. Vice President Kamala Harris in the battleground state of Wisconsin.
With your help in November, we will win.
The Democratic presidential nominee was in another must-win state earlier today, Georgia. Former President Donald Trump holds a rally tomorrow night in North Carolina, but the state's Republican gubernatorial candidate will not appear with him. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, whom Mr. Trump described as Martin Luther King Jr. on steroids, is accused of posting disturbing comments online. South Carolina carries out its first execution in 13 years after an unintended pause because the state couldn't obtain the drugs needed for lethal injections. An IDF airstrike in Beirut killed Hezbollah commander Ibrahim Akil, who was wanted by the U.S. for a deadly 1983 bombing. The FTC suing the country's three largest prescription drug pharmacy benefit managers, accusing them of inflating insulin prices. This is ABC News.
Roof Rescue is your local roofing specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top-quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
Thanks to our amazing customers and team, Salela Painting is the gold winner for the painting industry in the 2024 Best of Northern Utah. We appreciate your support.
Today's hearing aid technology can improve not only your life, but the lives of the people who care about you. Once again, you'll be able to hear the reason for their laughter and understand conversations. Dr. Paul Danes will customize a hearing improvement program to meet your unique requirements, whatever they are. Call Dr. Danes for an appointment at 753-HERE and let him show you how.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Join in the fun Saturday, September 28th for the second annual Center Street Giant Pumpkin Festival. This family fun event will run from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on historic Center Street in Logan. This is an all-day fall celebration with Center Street coming to life with live music, food, art, children's activities, and lots of giant pumpkins on display as they fight for the title of Center Street Giant. For more info, go to centerstreetgiant.com or call 752-2345. Sponsored by Cache Valley Bank and Anderson Seed and Garden.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People movie show with Andy Morgan underway here. We've mostly made it through fall movie season preview. It took us, 3 weeks now to get.
Yeah, but today we're going to talk. I get on these little kicks. You remember like 3 or 4 months ago before Alien Romulus came out, I was really on an Alien kick and I watched all the Alien movies.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of on this now with Lord of the Rings. I used to kind of watch Lord of the Rings, even the extended versions, like usually once a year. Like right, it always felt right to do right around Christmas for some reason. Maybe that's because when they came out.
That's funny because I used to read the book and it always felt right in December.
In December,
when
yeah.
It started snowing.
So
I don't do that anymore because it's too long and my attention span's shot. But.
I mean, it's been a hot minute since I've watched them. I mean, I'm serious when I say that. Like, I think I might have just kind of fatigued myself out of that. I do that with sometimes. I think we all do that sometimes when we watch something over and over. But you know, I'm I think 6 episodes deep into Rings of Power, season 2. I haven't
started yet.
Have you watched season 1?
I liked season 1. I know there were a lot of people that were critics. I really liked it.
I thought it was. I mean, I thought it was good, and I have a theory on that we can talk about in a second. But so I watched. I decided I'm going to go back. You know, I think this was before I watched episode 6 of Rings of Power last night. I'm pretty sure it's episode 6. It might be 5. I can't remember. Anyway, whatever the most current one is.
I heard it's a lot darker.
Yes, the last few have been super dark, literally. And I decided to pop in the fellowship, you know, the Lord of the Rings trilogy from 2001 to 2003. And I watched the extended versions, which, by the way, here's a funny story. I was watching Return of the King. I think it was Two Towers. I was watching Two Towers, and it was kind of late. And I was probably 45 minutes to an hour in, and I think I paused it for a second to go grab a drink. And the counter was like, "You've got 4 hours left."
Yeah,
and
you don't want to see that slider because it'll.
No, but
that reality will always shock you.
I think I fell asleep when like they didn't even come across Helm's Deep yet, and I fell asleep. I woke up, and there was still like an hour left, but I slept for like 2 hours.
It was still going.
It was still going. Made me laugh.
I did that. I got the book this week at I don't. It's a long story, but I tried to watch Heat again. I I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters, probably in the 90s.
Yeah,
I loved it. It's a great movie, but I love Michael Mann in general, but I just never sat. It's 3 hours long.
Did you see Ferrari last year?
I liked Ferrari too. Michael Mann's declining.
I mean, he is 80 years old.
Yeah, you can tell his movies aren't but Collateral.
He wants to do Heat too.
Yeah, the book is really good. But I had to go. I wanted to watch the movie, but I fell asleep.
I just thought of something.
I fell asleep. That movie's so long, and I fell asleep in the middle and woke up and saw the end, and I'm like, "Oh, that's what I came for."
Did you
just
see
a little refresher on the ending?
Did you see? And I want to preface.
I was trying to figure out what that knob on Val Kilmer's elbow is. Have you noticed that? Watch Heat.
I will.
I won't tell you when you see it, but the minute you see it, the rest of the movie's ruined.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think it was an injury, is what I read. But he has this gigantic goiter on his elbow.
I'll check that out.
And they never address it.
I'm gonna say something really quick, and I want to preface this with this is not mocking in any way, shape, or form.
That's what someone always says.
I don't mean this. This
I
is
don't
not
want to sound racist.
this is
I'm
not
about to say something really.
That was a Jeopardy question. That was things Matt Walsh says. No, but I saw a news blurb yesterday, and I thought it was maybe I was like, was this The Onion? But it said Passion of the Christ 2 to start filming in 2025. And I was like, what's that going to be about?
That's
you know what I mean?
But I'm surprised, actually, that hasn't happened with the popularity of some of those movies. They haven't, just made it Passion of the Christ 2, and obviously just tell the story.
I hope that's not the name of it.
I could see it happening.
That feels like kind of disrespectful in like the Passion of the Christ is a name. Like maybe you have it like the early life of Christ or something, but just like the Passion of the Christ 2, whatever. 2.
It's going to become a joke.
I saw some
the
really
is mean and blasphemous.
Yeah, I did see some really kind of borderline. I was like, I'm not reading that. I'm going to get struck by lightning. Pass. But there were some titles that I was like, yikes. Okay. Some people making jokes.
I love the movie spoof Twitter threads.
Yeah,
when they happen. And
I'm glad someone else was writing it.
I got lost in one the other day, though, that was fascinating. It was they were basically. It was Pop Crave, I think, asked a question, and they do this for clicks, for engagement. So it's a gimmick, but they're fun. So I'd look sometimes, and they did one that was, what's a movie that if you see the first 10 minutes, you're sitting down to watch it? And it was fascinating watching people's answers on that one.
Independence Day. Just kidding.
I don't know why for me, because it's not one of my favorite movies, but The Abyss.
Okay.
The Abyss is one. If I watch the first bit of that, I'm hooked. And then if I see the bank robbery scene from The Dark Knight, I'm at least there until the.
That's funny. That's funny you say that, because I don't generally look.
What are you going to do? Take our money? Yeah.
No,
I'm at least there for that scene.
I actually did that the other day with The Dark Knight Rises. And for my money. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
That's another one, that airplane scene at the very first.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a couple movies where if you watch that opening scene, you are just,
Well, what I wanted to say.
You're in for the movie.
Going back to Lord of the Rings, what I wanted to say was those are masterpieces. They always will be. I mean, they hold up.
They do hold up.
20 years later, right? Isn't that 20 years later? Yeah, 20 years later, they hold up.
That's weird to think about.
I mean, just beautiful music, great acting. Like, just the whole thing just came together. And that is so rare, especially with a trilogy.
Yeah.
There's usually one that falls off or one that's not as great, but all three of those were masterfully done. Now, I feel like
if I did have to rank them, and this is usually not how I feel about trilogies, but if I did have to rank them, it's the opposite of my usual ranking.
Yeah.
Because I actually think the weakest one is the middle one.
I agree.
But
I agree.
And usually with a trilogy, the middle one is always the darker cliffhanger ending, and I usually am drawn to that. But
I'd probably, my ranking in these 1 and 2 here would be pretty close, is Fellowship, Return of the King, Two Towers. That's my ranking.
We should also point out we are not including the Hobbit movies.
No, and I wanted to make a comment on that. Is it's funny when Peter Jackson
should have stopped.
Yeah, when Peter Jackson was doing the Lord of the Rings trilogy from 2001 to 2003, I was watching those going, George Lucas, you could have done this with the Star Wars prequels. So George Lucas was going to his like corny animated comedy hour with those three. And Peter Jackson's basically going back and he's like, look, we have CGI, we have practical, like, look, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, right, 2012, when we get the, An Unexpected Journey and the other three that came after, the other two that came after that, The Desolation of Smaug
that shouldn't have.
and The Battle of the Five Armies, those come out and
should have been one movie.
Right.
It would have been great. People would have loved it.
Those are Peter Jackson's prequels. I mean, literally they're prequels, but also...
Have you noticed the theme here? The common theme
theme is prequel.
Well, that's the thing. The common theme between George Lucas's prequels and Peter Jackson's
overuse of CGI.
Movies, it's excess.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they
yes, 100%.
Like, okay, I just made bazillions of dollars, and now I just can do this. I'm going to.
Well, and I'm gonna.
But should you have
the excess in terms of what I'm stuffing into the movie too?
That's you can tell with the prequels.
So
George Lucas is just playing with new toys.
Hey, let's have a little musical number while we toss the plates. Doodle-doo-doo. Like, come on, man. If that's in the book, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But again, this should have been
about that.
half-hour Netflix show.
Yeah. It would have been a great,
Here's a little tidbit that I learned that I like to share. I did not know. So, at the end of Return of the King, my future son-in-law told me this, by the way. Shout out to Jack. There's the Eagles. Remember when the Eagles come to pick up?
Oh, I thought you meant like.
Remember when Gandalf?
To the Hotel California.
Not those Eagles.
Okay.
Remember when Gandalf calls the Eagle Ubers to go pick up Frodo and Sam? Well, when you see that, there's I believe there's 4 eagles, right? Because Gandalf's on an eagle. Or there's 3 eagles, sorry. Gandalf's riding one, and one picks up Sam, and one picks up Frodo. And then there's an eagle that kind of comes in, and he's like, oh, wait, what? Nothing? Okay. And you know who that was for? That was for Gollum. Gandalf still had hope that Gollum could be redeemed, and so he sent an eagle for Gollum. It's kind of sad, actually, when you think of it that way. The eagle just kind of like, wait,
that's sad.
Isn't it? It makes you so sad. I know. I was like, that is so sad. Anyway, but because Gandalf's like, look for a pale guy with a loincloth, and the eagle was like,
I don't see anybody.
I don't see nothing.
Then the 4th eagle was like, why didn't you just take us here in the first place?
Yeah, but let me say this.
That's my favorite Lord of the Rings joke.
This is why I don't understand why people, and maybe that's not people in general, because I know a lot of people that do love Rings of Power. I don't understand the problem. But I was thinking about it on the drive in, and I think I know why.
Don't tell everybody yet. I like to tease listeners.
Tune in next week for what I'm about to say. No, I'm just kidding.
But, so you think you know why?
I know why,
and
this. It's not just Rings of Power. It's Star Wars. It's Marvel. It's everything. I know why.
All right. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Whether you weld it, drill it, or bolt it, whatever type of metal project you're working on, make sure you buy your metal products from Palmer's Metal Mart. With locations in Lehigh and Logan, you are never too far from amazing deals on all types of metal products. Steel tubing and pipe, metal roofing and siding, rebar, angle iron, sheet metal, aluminum, and stainless steel. You will love the selection and price at Palmer's Metal Mart. For over 31 years, Palmer's Metal Mart has been the source for metal projects big or small. Get into Palmer's Metal Mart today and take advantage of all the amazing deals this spring. Huge discounts on tubing and pipe, 15% discount on all in-stock metal roofing panels. You will love the selection. If you can't haul what you need, let Metal Mart deliver your product to you. We could give you our phone number now, but do you really have a pen and paper handy? So, look us up. Palmer's Metal Mart in Lehigh and Logan. Everyone's metal store. See you soon.
Does your dryer take longer to dry your clothes? It might be time to clean your dryer vent. Having a clean dryer vent shortens your drying time, increases the lifespan of your dryer, and decreases your risk of a house fire. Call a Logan-based business, The Duct Hunter, at 435-770-4813 for a quote and to schedule an appointment.
We are the Duck Hunters.
killed. Are you brainless?
I speak.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
Shout out to Jar Jar. Since we were dissing George Lucas's excess.
Jar Jar Binks. Poor Ahmad Best.
So Andy has a theory to wrap up the show today on why the haters hate, specifically when it comes to the latest Star Wars trilogy, which I love The Last Jedi, and
just everything.
The
Star
Rings
Wars
of Power.
Lady made it. I'm not going.
And we should preface this by saying you're not like a sycophant either. Like, you were willing to admit that Marvel really screwed up that Falcon and the Snowman.
Yeah, there's things I don't like.
Falcon and
but like
Winter Soldier.
when not liking something becomes your whole identity, and the things that you're attacking, like, hey man, I don't think there's a black elf, or there's not black Targaryens, or
any change whatsoever.
Yeah, or hey, why is there a fat Jedi? You know, like stuff like that. Asian Jedis? Come on. I thought we had that with Lando already. You know what I mean? Like this whole thing, or like, oh, they're making it woke because they referred to somebody as they instead of, he or whatever.
There was a lot of that with the one that just got canceled.
Yeah, the Acolyte. Like this whole concept of like, Disney's making it woke. You go woke, you go broke. That whole thing. You know what I think it is? What it is right now, our fabric of our society, the lexicon, our politics are not divided, and I think it's bled over into entertainment. Our politics aren't necessarily divided about like, hey, how do you want to run the government? It's identity. It's culture wars, right? Yeah. And that is just bled over into the entertainment. Probably more so now than at any point in the last 10 years.
Which is really weird. And
you
want to know something funny? If you want to make one of these people terminally online is what I call them, people very angry, just say, have you considered not caring? And man, they just, but you're right to say it's a personality for some people.
It is. It's their whole
but I don't get
MO.
It. If you don't like it, don't watch it. That's the easiest thing to do. And I've liked some of the Star Wars stuff on Disney Plus. I've hated some of it. And I don't care what it says. Bully Pulpit, The Last Jedi was good. You want to add anything controversial to wrap up with? Jaws was a Muppet.
No, how dare you? How